Hey guys, it's Jackie here. Do you know in 2020 we moved to Bali, and it was such an interesting time for the world because of course we were in a pandemic and we were set to leave for Bali in March of 2020, and then we didn't end up leaving because borders closed everywhere. We weren't able to leave until December of 2020. And the reason for moving to Bali, we had known Bali. We had been to Bali a number of times prior. So we had been to Bali 5 times prior to actually moving there. And then of course, the reason for our move there was really I'd searched the world for an alternate school because Mila, our oldest, she was dyslexic and I was dyslexic, and I never ever wanted her to have to go through the high school program that I went through, which it didn't feel very welcoming and open to learn when you had learning challenges. So I never wanted that for her, hence why I searched the world for an alternate school. And that's when of course I came across the Green School in Bali, and it just happened to be in Bali. So it was a place we knew, and we had always loved traveling to Bali. It was a wonderful place. It was somewhere where we felt very at home, but I was really nervous about living there because of course visiting anywhere, if you've ever visited somewhere and you're like, you love it, it's a very different experience from living somewhere. So I was a little unsure about moving there as a family, but the school was amazing. And so we had been to visit the Green School in Bali in 2017, and that's when I really made the decision that no, we've got to make this move. It's going to be the best thing ever. And so in late 2020 we moved to Bali, knowing Bali enough to know what we were getting ourselves in for, and all the joys and the challenges that comes with that. And so when we moved to Bali, it primarily was for the Green School. And what the Green School had offered, we of course have just left Bali, and so we were there for nearly 5 years, and the Green School community was everything we'd hoped for, probably more that we'd hoped for, and then the schooling was everything that worked perfect for what we wanted. Of course, in the end, I had 2 kids at Green School, so my son ended up going online and doing football, so soccer, and that was perfect for him. So I always say this, the Green School's not for everyone. It's like any school, I guess. Some schools work really well for some kids and not for others. But for Mila and Indy, it worked really well. And for Mila, for what we wanted, because she is dyslexic, it was amazing. I mean, I still think what makes Green School phenomenal is the teachers, and it's how they work with the students, and how I feel like there's no hierarchy, and they support the individual needs of the kids. So it's not necessarily this whole spectrum of you're just a child and you're a student and this is how you're going to learn. I think they support the whole individual child and look at what works for them. So we were so blessed to be in Bali, of course, in that beginning, because we were able to travel so much around Bali. Because it was COVID and Bali was really shut down and no one was traveling the world, we were able to explore things that we never could have had it not been a pandemic. We were able to travel to places that we wouldn't have been able to afford to go to. We traveled around so much. We stayed at amazing hotels, and the island, it was such a beautiful time to be in Bali. And although it was very difficult for the Balinese because they rely so heavily on tourism, we were really blessed to be there because the island was so empty, and you felt like outside of you and the other expats that had maybe were already living there or had done what you'd done and had left their own country during a pandemic, which people think you're crazy, right? They were like, you're leaving the safety of your country to go to another country. And so the people that you met in those early stages were really unique because they'd all kind of jumped their own countries in a really difficult time to take on this new adventure in Bali. So the people we met then, and then the travel we got to do in Bali at that time was I mean, maybe never in our lifetimes will we get to do something like that again. And then what Bali did for us is, because you're surrounded, of course you find your groups of people within your community, and the Green School has a large community and it's really heavily focused on community, but you find your people within that. But because people are adventurous and they want to go out there and they want to see the world, we did so much travel internationally in Bali. So we traveled more than we'd ever had. You know, we went to Europe, we went to Hong Kong, we went to Japan, we traveled to the United States lots, we went to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, we of course went to Singapore so much, because Singapore was a place that we actually loved, and it's very close to Bali and it's a whole other world away from Bali. So we really traveled to Singapore a lot, and I adore Singapore even to this day after all this travel. And it was a wonderful place to escape to and to have a break to, so close to Bali and complete different world. So we were able to open this. Not only were people around you always traveling all the time, so you felt this like, I want to be traveling, I want to be doing all this stuff, I want to see the world. So you felt inspired to do more. But you also, it was way more affordable. And I guess being a New Zealander, we're really at the bottom of the world, and everything is so expensive and so difficult to get to. And Bali opened up that door. It was way cheaper to travel, and it was a lot closer to other parts of the world, right in Europe and Southeast Asia. So all that, those doors open up to you. So the travel we did in that time was really amazing. And then of course our Green School experience was what it was all for. But I think also what Bali has that people are attracted to over and over again is the spirituality in the Balinese people, because they're very unique in the way that they are, and it is really is. And it's not that there's not dark undertones, because I think everywhere you go has things that maybe are negative about it, but the Balinese people in general are really loving, and they're really opening and welcoming, and they have a really beautiful side to their spirituality. So I think that's what makes Bali special. And then of course what you have there is everything's way more affordable as a Westerner or from any other country, in a first world country perhaps. It's way more affordable, and you have you have all the beautiful things, all the retreats, all the massages, everything is so affordable, all the facials, all the things that I love, that you're able to do, because it's something that you're able to afford to do. Whereas maybe in your country, you might do something like that once every 6 months, whereas in Bali, you can do it once a week because it's very affordable, and you can eat amazing, and you can eat out all the time. And lots of the times in Bali, of course, it's cheaper to eat out than maybe it is at home, because the certain quality of foods, if you're buying things like meat and cheese and all those things, they can be really expensive. So sometimes it's cheaper to eat out. So that is really the joy of Bali. And then of course we always thought, we were in Bali for nearly 5 years, and we always thought we were staying for Mila to graduate another couple of years. And then of course that changed. And that is, the kids are super sporty, and I think if you have really sporty children in Bali, those offer challenges. And it's not that it's something that can't be done. I mean, Kingston was an amazing football academy, but Mila of course is a sprinter, and she only had 2 years left of school, and as much as she loved Green School, it was really her that she was ready to take her running to the next level, and that was not going to be a possibility in Bali. And so that's really why we left. And so that was a big change, because we always say, this time last year we were set to stay in Bali for another 2 years until Mila graduates, and then we were ready to move on, because the younger two were definitely, they loved Bali and they had amazing friends there, but they were definitely more ready to leave Bali, and they always knew that we were staying for Mila to graduate. And then when it got to the stage where Mila wanted to leave to pursue her running and to take that to the next level, we made the decision. I kind of feel blessed that we're able to make these decisions, that we're able to support the kids in their goals and dreams, and that we're able to say, yeah, okay, let's look at another option. Bali's not working anymore. It was amazing. We had a phenomenal time, and let's look at the next steps and let's look at where we can go to next. So that is why after nearly 5 years, we left Bali. We had an amazing time. And it's funny because I think we did so much and we made the most of Bali, and we had amazing friends, and we've got friends now all around the world, which is lucky. We don't miss it so far because we made the most of it. We did everything we could in that time. We explored the island, we traveled as much as we could, we loved every minute of it, and maybe that's why we're not sad to have left, because when you make the most of something, how can you? So that's really the end. That's the end of our Bali journey. Now we're at next chapters, next journeys, and we're excited to move forward. Exciting. Bye guys, thanks for watching.